Watch and burn.
Hey everyone. So today, immediately actually, I want to discuss a made-for-TV movie that has sort of ruled my existence so considerably since I first saw it back in 93. I'm pretty sure it was 93. And that is Degrassi, School's Out. Now this is the feature film that sort of ends the original Degrassi, like as in the kids on Degrassi Street through Degrassi Junior High, as well as Degrassi High. That the original series ends with this film. And I have been fucking obsessed with this movie since I saw it on TV when CBC had it on because they were shutting down Degrassi. Now you have to understand too that at this point, Degrassi in all of its forms have been impactful as far as whatever generation they were aimed at, right? Like, I mean, Drake's Degrassi was way bigger than, you know, the Stacy Mistysyn or, you know, like the original Degrassi that I grew up with like Pat Mastriani and, like I said, Stacy Mistysyn. But nonetheless, it seems like, I don't know, it's almost like it's a Canadian thing, kind of, because Degrassi's been such an integral part of, like, the broadcasting history of Canada that it's so ingrained into sort of like the history of Canadian media that it's in there like the fucking Littlest Hobo or the Beachcombers or Danger Bay, for that matter. Except, whereas I liked the Beachcombers, I was a little young for it, and I really liked Danger Bay. And of course, who growing up when I was a kid didn't like the Littlest Hobo? But Degrassi had, God, the fucking balls that this series had. Like, I mean, they got Spike pregnant when she was in, I think, like grade 7, you know? And they addressed a preteen pregnancy at a time when teen pregnancy wasn't touched with like a 20-foot pole. And they dealt with drug use, the alcoholism, child abuse. And of course, Degrassi handled it with such grace and such skill and such intelligence that it never felt like they were attempting to exploit anything, because that couldn't have been further from what Kit Hood and like Linda Schuler had originally intended. They wanted the show to be entertaining, but they also wanted it to have like an impactful message, as far as how, you know, we're supposed to be treating each other and how, what it's like being a kid growing up, especially like when the show originally started, what it was like being a kid in the 80s. And it did such a good job of that everybody that watched it, that I would end up sort of conversing with about it, would be just as obsessed as I was. And School's Out is such a wonderful way to end that. To sum it up, it's the gang from Degrassi. It's Joey, it's Caitlin, it's Snake, it's Wheels, it's Lucy. You got the twins. And, well, wait, no, actually, no, this one's mostly, if you cut right down to it, this is about Joey, Caitlin, and Tessa Campanelli, who I had the fucking biggest thing for. I had the absolute biggest thing for Caitlin, but then tied right there, like, oh, fuck, dude, was Tessa Campanelli. So basically what this is Joey has managed to convince Caitlin to marry him, and all the while he has been fucking Tessa Campanelli on the side because Caitlin just isn't ready to have sex. And there's sort of this subplot about him and Snake attempting to lose their virginity first. There is something bigger and more cinematic about this film than you would assume. Like, this feels like a movie. Like, we went from Degrassi High ending on a regular note where, you know, they graduated and Joey and Caitlin were together again, and it was awesome. And it felt like a low-budget, Toronto-based sort of kids show PSA. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking it. They had limited funding because Degrassi was not the socially relevant hit that it would later become, like with the Drake era Degrassi, for example. I'm not even sure if any of the actors in this were getting paid. So it felt like a local TV show when it concluded, and then it was like all of a sudden, like CBC started pushing like, oh, the Degrassi movies, school's out, it's coming, and it was like, Jesus Christ, they made a fucking movie? And the movie felt big. It felt like it had a serious amount of production value, and there was some money poured into this. And it was like the first party, they're all drinking like liquor. And it's like, holy fuck, everybody grew up. And it's like, and then you see like, oh my God, Joey gets to like third base with Tessa and he's got his hands on her boobs. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, this is Degrassi. This is nuts. And they're down at the zone too. I used to ride my bike down there with my parents and shit when I was a kid. That's another thing I love about this show. Growing up where I did, I recognized so many parts of Toronto where the show will take place. The beach where Tessa and Joey, and then Joey and Caitlin are shot at like having, you know, beach dates on. I've been to that exact beach like 1,000 times. So yeah, and this, it feels more mature, and it feels like, oh, there's something going on here. And you don't realize it at the start, but Lucy Fernandez, the class valedictorian, it's her boyfriend Bronco, he's got the camcorder. And he's like, oh, Lucy, what's going on? She's like, yo, my future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. And of course that's foreshadowing, because how this movie ends is so incredibly tragic that in a lot of ways it sucks all of the fun out of the show, and it leaves it on such an emotionally significant and an emotionally heavy note that I've never really been sure how to feel about it. Even though they do clean it up years later when they reboot Degrassi, because Kit Hood and Linda Schuler put together that this would be about the time that Spike's daughter would be starting high school, and that's when they started Degrassi, The Next Generation, which would eventually lead to the Drake years. I forgot what I was saying. Completely forgot how I was relating one to, I don't remember what I was saying. But the movie ends on such a bad note, because throughout the movie, Wheels is attempting, Derek, he's attempting to get this piece of shit car he's got on the road, and he's drinking more and more as he's working on it. And the film sort of concludes with him driving drunk with Lucy in the car and blinding her and killing a kid as the result of an accident they have because he was drunk. The ironic thing being that for the people out there that don't know, that Wheels' parents were killed by a drunk driver in the show. So he grows up, drives drunk, and kills a kid and blinds Lucy. And he ends up doing time over it as well. And I did not expect this movie to end that way. Now, Lucy's eyes do get better. Joey and Caitlin, of course, have broken up because she has since found out that he's been banging Tessa Campanelli all summer. And oh my God, I love this movie. Oh my God. And I've went on and off base, and I've been all over the place about this for like fucking 9 minutes. I don't care. I'm trying to keep these videos shorter, but I just love this movie so much. So the whole summer, Joey's fucking Tessa Campanelli, and Tessa Campanelli doesn't know. She broke up with her boyfriend and thinks Joey broke up with Caitlin because she's got a thing for Joey. And the whole time, she has no idea that he's been dating Caitlin. And he ends up getting Tessa pregnant. And then Tessa has to deal with the abortion all by herself because she was just some fuck toy to Joey. And I felt so bad for Tessa because she didn't do anything wrong. And then the show swears, yo, when Snake has had enough with Joey picking on him for being a virgin and Wheels fucking being a dick to him, he just snaps. And he's like, oh, let's recap Joey Jeremiah's big summer. He's like, oh yeah, dating Caitlin, and he's fucking Tessa Campanelli. And he used the word fucking. And it was like, oh my God, dude, yo, Degrassi's swearing. And then Caitlin says it to Joey because she heard everything Snake said. She's like, you were fucking Tessa Campanelli? And I'm like, oh my God, dude, they just said fuck for the second time. He called Wheels' car a piece of shit. Oh my God, they said shit on CBC. This is insane. I don't know. I don't even know how the fuck I'm able to upload these things. These things are fucking train wrecks. But I love this movie, and I apologize for being so completely unprofessional and ranting and going off and talking about this and talking about that. But goddamn, I love School's Out. And if you haven't seen School's Out, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. So you should watch School's Out. But really, Degrassi, the official channel, they have all the early seasons, the original seasons of Degrassi Junior High. And I believe the first season, at least, of Degrassi High up for anybody that cares. I'm going to do a lot of Degrassi videos. So, yeah. I'm going to go. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me for way too long while I discussed this little-known Canadian movie from way back when. Like always, if you like this review, do something nice for somebody. And, yeah, sorry again. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe. And we will see you guys really soon.